Video games are bad for you. Back in my day, we pushed a hoop with a stick and pounded beers until we couldn't feel feelings no more. These are comments I see all the time. Most recently, there's been a bit of controversy surrounding Joe Rogan, a talk show host who shared the sentiment that they're a waste of time, they get you nowhere, and so on and so forth.
And video games are a real problem. They're a real problem. And you do them, and they're real exciting, but you don't get anywhere.
Right. I'll have a full link and context in the description, but that's the basic gist of things. This has started some riveting discussion, and I thought it interesting enough to jump in and share my take on it all. And this isn't really about Joe specifically. Don't worry, this isn't going to be a drama channel. It's just a general conversation about gaming, its effect on you physically, mentally, and the effect on society as a whole because, well, there's a lot to say. So first addressing the main point that he's trying to make here. Video games are ultimately a distraction, and quote, you don't get anywhere. This itself is a tricky thing to attack, because what does it mean to really make it? Think of it to yourself right now, then go to someone else in the house and ask them. Call a friend and ask them. Most likely, you'll get different answers. For some, it's getting married. For others, it's having kids, getting their dream job, getting X amount of dollars, buying a house, traveling the world, being able to take care of their family, and some simply being happy. For the most part, these are all goals that we share in common, but at which point out of all of this stuff do you consider that you've made it? It's a subjective thing, and people value different things differently. The thought here, obviously, is that Joe and his guest are trying to convey that if all you do is play video games, you're not getting out, you're not talking to people, pursuing interests or hobbies, you're not living a quote normal life or gaining any sort of skill that you can apply in the real world. So it's been met with some pretty big backlash. I mean, it's not surprising. The internet culture and the video game culture are nearly synonymous with each other, and with his program, from what I can tell, being mainly based on the internet, a large portion of his target audience didn't agree with the take. But what is gaming compared to other conventional hobbies? Collecting bottle caps, listening to music, watching movies, billiards, watching sports, watching podcasts. These are quite common hobbies, in fact, done purely for the enjoyment or entertainment, and yet there's no stigma tied to them as there are with video games. Just like with anything in life, you can use or do things responsibly or irresponsibly. You can play games every now and then, hang with your buddies and have a good time, or you can play them 12 hours a day, shirk your responsibilities, or avoid some problem in your life by distracting yourself with gaming. The stigma with video games is that A, they promote a sedentary lifestyle. Not counting the new VR games and some of their crazy gadgets, you sit on a chair or a couch for the entire session, so naturally Joe, being a big martial arts guy, I'm sure this is something he doesn't like about it. But more importantly, I think, is B, is that there's this addiction, so it's an attractive escape from the mundanity of the real world. They're a coping mechanism to escape from an unpleasant situation. But I think the stigma is misplaced because you can make the same argument with literally anything in life. People do the same thing with their job. They're unhappy or they have a problem, and instead of addressing and fixing it, they just bury themselves in their work. But there's less of a stigma tied to this because, hey, at least you're raking in those bones, because that's truly the important thing in life. Cold, hard cash. Don't get me wrong, we don't live in a fairy tale. A simple fact of life is that the world revolves around money, and you have to look out for number one. I'm just saying that the stigma against gaming is misplaced, and they're not responsible for the irresponsibility of others. We're all architects of our own destruction or success, and just like anything with life, you can do something responsibly or irresponsibly. It's up to us to hold ourselves and each other accountable for our own actions, rather than haphazardly putting the blame on something deemed as being addictive. It's an argument that's been around as long as video games have existed. They're the perfect scapegoat. I don't know what happened. The extent of my parenting was sticking my kid in front of a TV so I could ignore them for 10 hours a day. How are they all screwed up? Ah, I know. It's those blasted vidya games. Look, this one even has a swear word in it.
Fuck off!
Won't somebody think of the children? Well, as long as it's not me, of course. But getting back to the point that you don't get anywhere in life, it really depends on the game, but this is also something I took issue with. I agree that the prospect of getting into playing video games for a living is a very low chance. For every person who made it work, there are 1,000 more who didn't. There is definitely a skill involved, but also a lot of luck and being in the right place at the right time. But there's more to it than making money. Of course, as you know, this is primarily a World of Warcraft channel, and I think this is the perfect game for this particular discussion. It's one of the most popular and one of the most addicting, certainly, and people name World of Warcraft specifically when speaking of the dangers of video game addiction. You ever hear the term World of Warcrack? For sure, you have horror stories of people taking it way too far. What? You've never traded sex for gold before? I've heard of an epic mound, but this is ridiculous. Well, this does give me an idea for another video. But anyways, again, it's just getting into that discussion of responsibility. With it being such a social game, it also serves as a venue in which to meet new people and make friends. I met people 15 years ago who I still talk to today, every single day. Remember those other hobbies I listed earlier? When I said that these also don't give you real-world applications, I was lying. Just because something doesn't have the potential to earn you money doesn't mean that it should be avoided. Doing things that make you happy makes you a more productive person in general. Watching the latest movies or talking about how your football team is doing gives you a basis and common ground with other people and helps you find others who share similar interests. It helps you make friends. My nephews would tell me all the time that Fortnite is the latest rage. It's always Fortnite, Fortnite, Fortnite with them. They got this new skin in Fortnite, they won a game in Fortnite, and after dinner, they're playing Fortnite with their friends. Since I asked you earlier of what making it in life means to you, I'll also share mine. As time goes on, it's less and less that I care about things. I don't care about having a giant house, a pile of money, or a Mercedes.
And drives a Mercedes, and he's got a nice family, and like, that's the future. This way, you're doing something exciting and fun, and you don't...
To me, those things don't matter. I'm not going to have a picture of my car next to me as I lay down on that hospital bed, ready to pass into the nether. I'll be holding the hands of my loved ones and those who love me. To me, making it in life is all about the people who are around you, and the friendships I've made through gaming are things I'd never trade away. Online friendships aren't meant to be a replacement to real-life friendships. Ideally, you want both, but I can tell you, they're a special thing. It's pretty cool to have, and something made possible through the world of gaming. I think where Joe is coming from here is that there's this fear, understandably so from parents, that it'll take hold of your kids, and they won't lead what he sees as a normal life. Kids usually are irresponsible and will take the path of least resistance. But that's where good parenting, guidance, and boundaries step in so you can catch the good and block the bad. Overall, I think I turned out pretty good. Despite what you'd think from the voice, I lead a pretty happy life, but it was through the love and support of my parents, family, and friends, both through gaming and otherwise, that got me to where I am today. So, there's this fear of anything that's addicting, especially from parents trying their best to direct their kids into the best possible life. I disagree with this take, but I don't think it was done from a place of malice or anything. Just not an understanding nor acknowledgement that with the potential bad, there's a lot of potential good to be had, and the responsibility ultimately rests on that person's shoulders. In a world where slowly but surely the things you enjoy are being taken away from you, we could do without misplaced stigmas. Video games can be social, which is especially relevant considering the crazy times we're currently living in. It's like, hey, come on kids, stop socializing through the virtual world and get out and play. Just remember your hazmat suit. So yes, video games are bad for you, or they can be at least, but they can also be really good for you too. They can lead to lifelong friendships through common ground, and that to me gets you everywhere in life.
Farewell for now, mortals. We hope you enjoyed today's video. See you again soon.